In the lively city of Lagos, where dreams collided with reality, a young woman named Amara found herself cornered into an unwanted blind date. Her mother, ever the matchmaker, had set her up with the son of a prominent businessman. But Amara, fiercely independent and uninterested in being a trophy wife, had a plan: make the worst impression possible. As she waited for her ride, she paused by a sleek black limousine, its tinted windows giving her the perfect makeshift mirror. Blissfully unaware of the man inside, she exaggerated her makeup, smudging lipstick beyond her lips, adding an unnecessary amount of powder, and mussing up her hair to look as unkempt as possible. She even adjusted her outfit to appear mismatched and ridiculous. Little did she know, billionaire Damien Okafor was watching, thoroughly entertained by her antics. Damien, a man who had spent his life surrounded by people desperate to impress him, found Amara's carefree behavior refreshing. His interest piqued, he had his driver follow her discreetly to the restaurant where she met her date, a pompous, self-absorbed man who recoiled at her appearance. The date ended swiftly, exactly as Amara intended, but her night was far from over. As she exited the restaurant, Damien approached her with a warm smirk. "I hope you know that window wasn't just a mirror," he teased, making Amara freeze. Mortified yet intrigued, she engaged in conversation with the mysterious stranger. What began as playful banter turned into an unexpectedly deep connection, one filled with laughter, unfiltered thoughts, and a shared appreciation for authenticity. Over the following weeks, their paths continued to cross, leading to late-night talks and surprise meetings. Damien, enchanted by Amara's unapologetic nature, revealed his identity, not as the man she was supposed to impress, but as the one who had fallen for her raw, unfiltered self. For the first time, Amara questioned her own beliefs about love and fate. In trying to escape an arranged future, she had stumbled upon something far more real. And so the girl who dressed ugly to ruin a date ended up capturing the heart of a billionaire who saw beauty when no one else did. Amara's life had always been about making her own choices. She had no patience for pretenses, and she certainly wasn't about to let her mother dictate her future. But Damien Okafor was unlike anyone she had ever met. He was rich, powerful, and intimidating, yet somehow he saw through the layers of defiance she had wrapped herself in. After their first encounter, Amara found herself constantly running into Damien. It was as if fate had placed them on an inescapable collision course. At first, she thought it was just a coincidence. Lagos was big, but circles were small. However, when she saw him at a book cafe she frequented, then again at a friend's gallery opening, she started to wonder if their meetings were as accidental as they seemed. "You again?" she teased, raising an eyebrow as she sipped her coffee. Damien smirked. "I could say the same. Maybe you're following me." Amara scoffed. "Hardly. If I were following you, I'd make sure you never noticed. Now that's a challenge I'd love to see you attempt." Their banter became a game, one neither of them wanted to lose. Each meeting was an opportunity for witty comebacks, sarcastic remarks, and conversations that stretched into the late hours. Damien didn't treat her like an ornament, and that was something Amara didn't realize she had been craving. One evening, Damien took her to a rooftop overlooking the city. The golden lights of Lagos shimmered below them as the warm breeze ruffled Amara's hair. For once, she wasn't trying to push him away. She let herself enjoy the moment. "Why did you really ruin that date?" Damien asked, breaking the comfortable silence. Amara exhaled, watching the city below. "Because I didn't want to be another man's prize. I didn't want to be chosen just because I fit a mold." "And what if someone chose you for breaking it?" She turned to him, their eyes meeting. There was no arrogance in his gaze, no expectation, just curiosity and something deeper she wasn't ready to name. As the weeks passed, their connection deepened. Damien wasn't just a billionaire. He was someone who understood her in a way no one else had. He challenged her, made her laugh, and most importantly, saw her for who she truly was. He admired her independence rather than trying to suppress it. Still, Amara was cautious. She had spent too long resisting the idea of love to let herself fall so easily. But Damien was patient, and his actions spoke louder than any words. He never forced her into anything, never tried to buy her affection. Instead, he showed up, time and time again, until she realized she didn't want to push him away anymore. The final crack in her walls came when her mother discovered their budding relationship. "A billionaire! Amara, do you have any idea what this means?" her mother exclaimed, barely containing her excitement. Amara sighed. "Yes, mother, it means I met someone who sees me beyond the surface." Her mother clapped her hands together. "Finally, you're thinking sensibly. This is fate, my dear." "No, this is me making my own choice." And it was. Damien hadn't been part of the plan. He wasn't someone she sought out. He was the man who had seen her at her most ridiculous and fallen for her anyway. And now, as she stood before him on another rooftop, the city stretching below, she realized she had fallen too. "I fought it," she admitted, "but I don't want to anymore." Damien grinned, pulling her close. "Then don't." And with that, the girl who had once sabotaged a date to escape love found herself in the arms of the man who had loved her from the very beginning. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of emotions, stolen moments, and undeniable chemistry. Amara found herself letting her guard down more than she ever had. She still wasn't sure if she believed in fairy tales, but if she did, this might have been one. One evening, Damien invited Amara to a gala. "I want you to see my world," he told her. Amara hesitated but eventually agreed. She chose a stunning yet modest dress, one that reflected her personality rather than the expectations of high society. When she stepped into the grand ballroom, eyes turned toward her, whispers followed, but Damien never let go of her hand. "You're different from the women here," he whispered in her ear. "Is that a compliment or a warning?" she teased. "Both." Despite the stares and murmurs, Amara held her head high. She was here on her terms, and no amount of scrutiny could change that. But as the night wore on, she realized that Damien's world came with its own set of challenges. Jealous socialites, skeptical business partners, and even some members of his own family questioned her presence. "Are you sure about this?" she asked Damien later that night. He cupped her face gently. "I've never been more sure of anything." But as much as they fought for their love, not everyone was happy about it. Rumors began circulating, attempts to tarnish Amara's reputation surfaced, and soon she found herself at the center of a scandal she never saw coming. Just as she thought things couldn't get worse, an anonymous source leaked a fabricated story linking her to a former scandal. Social media exploded, with debates over her character, and business headlines speculated about what her involvement with Damien could mean for his empire. Amara tried to ignore it, but the weight of it all became suffocating. Every time she stepped outside, cameras followed, reporters bombarded her with questions, and even her workplace wasn't spared. Colleagues who once admired her now whispered behind her back. "I don't know how much more of this I can take," she confessed to Damien one night. "I didn't sign up for this life." Damien's jaw tightened. "I know, and I won't let this break you." Instead of letting the rumors drive them apart, Damien took a stand. He called a press conference declaring his unwavering support for Amara and denouncing the false allegations. His public display of loyalty silenced the critics, and soon the storm passed. Amara realized then that love wasn't about avoiding challenges, it was about facing them together. And with Damien by her side, she was ready to take on anything. A year later, in the same place where their journey truly began, Damien got down on one knee. "You were never just another woman to me, Amara. You are the love of my life. Will you marry me?" Tears filled her eyes, but her answer was clear. Yes. And so, the girl who once sabotaged a date to escape love found herself saying yes to a man who had chosen her for exactly who she was. Their love story wasn't perfect, but it was real. and that was all that mattered. Moral lesson. Authenticity is the key to true love and success. In a world where people often go to great lengths to impress others, true connections are built on authenticity. Amara tried to repel attention by being her unfiltered self, but ironically, it was this very rawness that captured the heart of someone who valued sincerity over pretense. Key takeaways. Be yourself. You don't need to fit into society's mold to find love or success. The right people will appreciate you for who you truly are. Genuine connections matter. Real relationships aren't based on superficial perfection, but on honesty, humor, and shared values. Love finds you unexpectedly. Sometimes what we try to avoid may lead us to our greatest blessings. In the end, Amara wasn't chosen because she tried to impress. She was chosen because she was unapologetically herself. And that is the most powerful way to attract the right people into your life. I hope you enjoyed the story. If so, like the video, comment what you've learned from the tale, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more enchanting, educative, inspiring tales, just like this one. I appreciate your time. Thank you for watching. See you in my next story, and God bless you all.